And if I let it get too far to any side, it breaks. And if it breaks, we go out of business. I have always, and to this moment, respect when people do not like what I do. The lack of empathy and compassion is why the whole world sucks. The reason CEOs are not themselves is they're scared to get fired. Business is not education system. Business is not the political system. Business is, if you over coddle and you over entitle, you go out of business and everyone gets fired.
What's the way out?
Only thing I believe more than the sun will come up tomorrow is that winners fucking win.
How do you put on the persona though? Isn't it hard to kind of like...
No, because it's not a persona.
Who are you when no one sees you?
A really nice boy.
Okay.
Most of the world thinks I'm an influencer.
That's
and
how
a motivational speaker.
Yeah. So do you ever get sick of that if someone sees you on the street or they start talking to you?
I'm flattered. Like, I'm humbled by people getting value out of the words I speak.
I know one day I'm gonna be somebody.
Please look at my face. You're somebody now. Do you understand? When you figure out who you are and do all that, you win.
At the time when you were coming up, did more established CEOs or business owners or investors think of yourself as an influencer versus like, I actually have all these very legitimate businesses here?
I'm not sure. I would say probably. I'm sure that's the case now. You know, when if you think about more established, you know, I'm 49. So like the more established now are some OGs. Do I think that the 60 to 70-year-old titans of the world, financially, professionally, because I'm one of the 20 most followed people on LinkedIn and the content they see there, which would primarily be where that character consumes his or her content. Do I think the ones that don't know me think of me as the author or the public speaker or the ridiculous dude in videos, social media influencer? I'm sure some do. You know, I'll be very frank with you. The levels of giving a shit of what anyone thinks of me, whether they're the titans of the world or a stranger on the street, it doesn't really penetrate very high. I'm really not playing for anyone else but myself. And so I don't spend a lot of time on that. And probably where you're going with this, or what might be interesting to people, is the reason I am probably playing it slightly different and maybe breaking rules, because I know I'm not maximizing finance. I have a pretty active investing career. I was early Facebook, early Twitter, early Uber, Snap. Like just if I was a VC, I would have juice. If I was maximizing wealth, when the returns on Facebook and Uber and Snap and all these big investments I made started to come, I would have poured all that money into real estate because all the tax laws written for real estate, and I would sit around and manage my real estate. I would die miserably if I was into real estate. But for other people, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
Including my favorite business partner, Steve Ross, who built this whole place, owns the Dolphins. I want to own the Jets. He's one of the great real estate moguls of all time. He's 85. When I sit and have breakfast with him or hang out with him, which I've done multiple times this year, he's fired up about buying up West Palm Beach the way I'm fired up about making the very, 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 very lucky black cat the next Pikachu and Mickey Mouse. Everybody plays it different. This is how I play it.
So we've talked to a lot of CEOs. I think you're like our 61st episode. A lot of big companies too. And I would say a lot of them seem to, a fair amount of the larger company CEOs seem to have more of a mask on. And I think CEOs need to be a little bit more authentic. I think that word is used a little too much, but there is an element of like the younger generation just craving that more. And so I think you're very forward with that. Do you think there's a little too much out of business leadership where they're just trying to chase profits versus preaching like passion and go after what you're good at? And
yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of things there. The reason I'm smiling is actually not passion versus cash. It's that most CEOs of big companies are not entrepreneurs. Most of the people you've interviewed are executives.
Yeah. We actually just called one of, it's like you're basically an SVP if you have
100%.
Yeah,
like
there's a holding company.
The boredom in which runs through my body when I jam with some of the biggest CEOs in the world is extraordinary, not because they're bad or not smart. Some of them have 50 times more skills than me in 50 important areas, but they are not inherently creative, risk-tolerant, playing outside the lines, seeing in color, And which is why I think I've always gravitated towards creators. Like, it's wild to me. And I think when I die at 100, which is my hope, I really do believe the headline is, Gary Vaynerchuk dies, creator of VeeFriends will be remembered for. Like, I know that the back half of my 100 years, which is starting now, I turn 50 in November, I'm gonna put a lot of energy into VeeFriends. And that is gonna be where I'm most creative. Like, we have a comic book number 5 comes out, and I'm very excited. 5's very important to me. I always throw up the 5. Has a lot to do with my mother making a jersey for me when I was 7 that had the number 5 on it. It's just a very important number to me. So comic 5, as you can imagine, which is coming here this fall, was very important to me. I wrote, created every aspect of that comic book. It is so good. And I'm grading my own homework, but I shit on myself quite a bit. So I'm comfortable in knowing it's good, to the point where last night I'm laying in bed and I'm like, fuck it, I'm taking this comic to Hollywood. I think this is a fucking movie.
So you didn't binge the CEO series last night?
I binged my mindset. Like, what I binge, I don't consume anything. Like, when I say I don't consume anything, actually, Sex and the City was in the background.
Great show. It's a great show.
If I'm not consuming the New York Jets and the New York Knicks, if I'm not consuming those two things, and I'm not consuming a documentary, if I'm not consuming the Jets, the Knicks, or a documentary, I'm not consuming. What I'm consuming is the world. What I do for a living is, I believe that I am maybe a human anthropologist. What I do for a living, like last night, my prompt engineering was about Labubu and will tight jeans come back soon, because now we're going into the baggy era. And like, I spend my time consuming the pulse of society, the niches, popular culture. So for example, when I consume social media for 2 straight hours, I'm not consuming for me. I'm trying to understand what all of you give a shit about.
Well, that helps you with your other ventures, maybe making an investment into an entrepreneur.
It's
all that matters.
It's fundamentally what I do for a living.
Yeah. So I have a question about being a CEO generally.
Please.
And CEOs also generally.
Yes.
I think they are viewed negatively. One of the reasons, big company CEOs, one of the reasons why we do this show is because there are a lot of CEOs out there that do things with integrity. They have good cultures. Sure. They run good companies. They're performers as well.
Yes, the headlines of the 17 CEOs who get such massive salaries, who are dick faces, get all of youth culture to believe there's something wrong in that, and they're horrible tyrants. I think that is just as lazy as saying all Mexican people do this, or all women do that, or all Italians do this. So I think that's a smart take on your part, because to your point, mainstream media has, and which then leads to social media, has overly focused on the 0.01% of CEOs, and 99% of CEOs are running mid-sized and small-sized companies. And even the large CEOs, there's a lot of people who are incredibly noble and wonderful.
You had an interesting quote too on Steve Jobs, and like talking about some of your friends in Silicon Valley, where you basically said like they were following the way he led, when really it's like, it wasn't that fun to work with him. He was kind of a jerk. There's a reality to, was he a super high performer, very creative, transformative with technology, but there's a reality to like working for him and what you do day to day. That's just like, that's not it. And so I'm wondering, like, have we gone, to get philosophical here, have we gone a little off with the business world and business leadership, where it's growth at all costs and profit, and that's all you must do?
No, I actually think we're in the nicest place we've ever been. Do you know what 1984 looked like? I think culture has become so ridiculously entitled and soft, and we collectively are a bunch of pusses and we cry about ludicrous things. At the same token, to your point, yes, I did and still stand on this. I do not like how Steve Jobs did it. I do not believe tirading people. I do not believe fear is the useful weapon of choice to get things done. So I think both can be true.
Yeah, because you're pretty positive in your messages.
I'm incredibly positive, but I also deeply believe that entitlement has become a disease.
What's the way out?
The way out is consequences. See, the reason I don't worry about it is I know one thing about business. I feel like I'm Eminem right now at the end, but I know something about you. I know something about business, which is business is not education system. Business is not the political system. Business is not parenting. Business is not all these other things. Business is if you over coddle and you over entitle, you go out of business and everyone gets fired. What's cool about business is it's the closest thing to sports.
Yeah, there's a performance.
It's black and white.
Yeah.
If you create over coddled, entitled children, you just raise loser children and everyone goes to therapy and points fingers, but there's no scorecard. I want to run this place wildly positive and good, and I feel great about the culture we have. But at the same token, if I let it get too far to any side, it breaks. And if it breaks, we go out of business.
Yeah, and then more people suffer.
Yeah, the whole, and listen, you're talking to someone who disproportionately his kryptonite and disproportionately the F on his report card as a CEO, entrepreneur, and business owner has been his inability to fire people.
You're in a, yeah.
I've gotten a lot better.
Because what you just said too, I actually heard you talk about this on the Cody Sanchez podcast. Yeah, where you were like in content to the public, I'm speaking to people and it's easy for me to.
This is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
The candor that will flow here is layup city. I'm talking to the ether, but
talking to an employee that you know personally.
But Mike, I have trains worked for 2 days and I would struggle today to be fully as candorous with him as I would have when I interviewed him last 2 weeks ago. Just because once feelings start to develop, once I care, once I know what Liz wants to,
I think
I know these things, it's hard.
That separates you though from the other side of the CEO where they're like, they'll let go of 600 people.
Yeah.
Which is just like anti-human.
Yeah, but it's really not anti-human if it's saving 18,000 jobs. Like this is real shit. Like I'm going to say it again, like this sucks.
Do you think that's something that people don't think about when any form of leadership is
I don't think people think about anything but themselves. I think empathy, compassion, and sympathy are the great underused energies of the human being. No shit, a worker at a factory is not going to give a fuck because he's worried or she's worried about their family, and I understand that. But the lack of empathy and compassion is why the whole world sucks. Right? Like everything that sucks. And by the way, when I say the whole world sucks, I mean when someone thinks from that angle, if you look at the seed of which creates unhappiness for humans, it is the lack of empathy and compassion. There is nothing that happens in culture, in the world, that I think is black and white. Not one thing. I do not understand how anyone can look at the world completely in blue and completely in red. I laugh at the hypocrisy of my fellow Americans at scale. I've watched people over the last 10 years change their point of view on things they believe deeply in their soul just to be fully red or fully blue. I look down on that. I look at that as weakness.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's purple.
It's fucking purple as shit.
Yeah.
There's nothing more purple. And business is purple. And being a CEO is purple. So laying off 800 people, that is not like, people don't do that for ha 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 for fun. Every single CEO in the world is sitting around right now and saying, if I don't tighten up and get AI put in place, a company I'm competing with will do that. They will beat me and I'm going to lay off 8,000 people, not 800 people.
How many moments in your career that you've had where you were down in the dumps, where the positivity was kind of hard to maintain? You were lacking optimism. You had it.
Because I also am completely and utterly detached from my professional. I will not allow business to actually penetrate how I feel about life. I pray that before I die, there's an AI pill that you can swallow that can show the world 100, like lie detector test 19.0. If you understood how fundamental, and this is wild what I'm about to say, even I, as I'm about to say it, laugh because I'm like, I'm not sure anybody but my mom and like 7 other people will believe what I'm about to say. You have to know me that well. I am utterly, fundamentally, completely detached from Gary Vee and my professional success. Could give a fuck. Have no self-worth or self-esteem wrapped up.
What matters to you the most?
Who I am. Like who I am when nobody sees me.
Who are you when no one sees you?
a really nice boy. And by the way, I say that so lightly because it has nothing to do with me. What I just did was give flowers to my parents.
How do you put on the persona though? Isn't it hard to kind of like?
No, because it's not a persona.
Yeah.
I'm deeply passionate. Like passion and enjoyment is a completely different thing than what you have your self-worth wrapped up in. I find it very easy. Let me give you an example. I don't know, is your family competitive?
We have 5, we both played football at Notre Dame. And
so this is gonna be so easy. My sister, I played basketball for 5 hours on Thursday with a bunch of friends and employees. And my sister literally, after one play, I walk off, she goes, bro, you have rabies. She's like, you have fucking rabies. This is what my sister said to me. It's because she was like, if you saw your face, when I am in deep competition, I am fundamentally a different person than I am. In real life, I will like lay my body on the street for an old lady in the middle of the street to cross. In competition, I would punch that lady in the face. I think there's something there. That's the analogy I would use to try to make you understand what I'm trying to say, which is, it's not a facade. I'm deep in this interview, these next 10 hours that I work every minute, no lunch, no pee break, just like a maniac.
Yeah, this is you.
Deeply passionate, but when it's going poorly, many ebbs and flows, I'm not sitting, first of all, I have absolutely no fear to go back to zero. Because it goes back to how we started this interview. If I go to zero, let's say I just completely over leverage and it goes to zero, and you guys wake up, and it's like Gary V bankrupt, zero.
Yeah.
You've got thoughts, you're like, fuck, what a fucking farce, like holy shit, right? I don't fucking care what you and your brothers think.
Well, I wouldn't think that.
But you know what I mean?
It's more complicated than that.
It
yeah,
is.
Yeah.
You're bright enough to understand that. But I guess where I'm going with all of this.
You're saying your personality is such, and who you are, that's not where you get worth.
It's just not where I get worth. I get worth when let me give you a weird one that can really capture where I get worth. I'll tell you something that really hits me personally. I'm in the airport a lot. And when I walk in the airport, I don't know what it is, but if I'm not on a call or if I'm not locked into something, I think it's nice to smile at people. You should, I like it.
Yeah.
I like,
It gives me joy when someone smiles back. It's nice.
Right?
Yeah.
You do that too?
All the time.
I love that about you. So honestly, I love this about you. Then I'm really talking to you, not even them. How epic is that?
It's great. It makes your day feel better.
And
yeah.
There's some people are really some people's rest faces are really fucking sad and fucked up. And and they I don't know, that is how I think about the world. I like it. I'm happy. I want to spread positivity. I love competing. Business is my outlet. I wasn't athletically inclined like you and your bros. So once I realized it wasn't going to be sports, I got so lucky that business was there. I enjoy it to the depths, but I have never been in anything close to a depressed state.
Yeah.
I've been fearful of outcomes. You don't want things to go out of business. I remember, actually, I've got a good story for you to show, I want to show you adversity. Early on for my dad's business, we were pioneers in shipping wine around the country. The laws were very murky.
I heard this story about Texas, right? Yeah. Yeah.
You really do your homework. I'm impressed. So just to make sure they all hear, we lose Texas because one of the shippers is like, you can't ship there. We're the only store in the country that can't ship to Texas. The hypocrisy was enormous. I was super upset. And honestly, it was a lot of revenue, and it meant that there was going to be layoffs, which in hindsight, now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, that's what bothered me.
Right.
I was always wondering, why did that bother me so much? There was no way to get out of it. It was so much revenue loss that we were going to have to do some layoffs. It was the first time I had to do that in the store. And these were $8 employee, a couple years. But even that fucked with my head heavy. And so I went home at 2, 3 o'clock when it became final. There was no way out. I went home at 3 o'clock and went to sleep. Just went home at 3 o'clock. That would be the closest of anything I can remember. You go home, I go home, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know if I've ever fallen asleep before 9 p.m. before in my life. And I slept that whole night, and the next morning I woke up and I was good. I went to fix it.
Well, entrepreneurs, you can't not be optimistic because you gotta move. You got to keep moving. So if something problematic happens, it's like you got to figure out a way to move forward with it.
You've got to be optimistic and or practical.
Yeah.
I think practicality is what I try to live in. Like it is what it is. And so that's the game I play.
How important was working with your family, working with your father? It's a really cool story. Tell us a little bit more about like scaling the wine business through digital media. You were one of the OGs on YouTube, but with the YouTube series, still goes on today?
No, I did that for 5 years, from 06 to 11.
Okay.
But I do it occasionally.
I saw on your LinkedIn, it says present.
I did maybe it's not
I don't know.
updated,
Yeah.
But I did do a recent wine video with my dad, which was
it must have been one of like the very first episodic series on YouTube, if not the first. Yeah.
Zay Frank had a show, the Zay Frank Show. Rocket Boom had a show. There was that Lonely Girl 16 or something that there was like Renetto. When I tell you, I personally knew every person that was doing videos on YouTube. That's how crazy 2006 YouTube was. Yeah. It was that small and we all knew each other.
What's the next?
Like literally getting goosebumps. Yeah, it was such an iconic period. The greatest thing I ever did, which was the most selfless thing I ever did, which in hindsight, I'm just fascinated about where my mindset was as a 22-year-old. The greatest thing I ever did in my career was dedicate 12 years of 100 hours a week to my father and mother and build a business for them.
How was it working with your family and still working with your family today?
With my father, it was wildly complicated and incredibly fruitful and fuck, man. It's so cliche. And I think I've been an old soul my whole life. I think I knew at 22 that at 49, I would sit here and know it was the best decision. But I took my dad's business from 3.8 million a year to $65 million a year, never made six figures, and left at 34 to start this company and had to work out of someone else's conference room because I literally had no money. So it's funny when people are like, oh, well, your dad, I'm just like, motherfucker, I built my dad's business for him and got massively underpaid along the way.
Have you ever brought it up with him?
Oh, he knows. You know this. You guys, and amongst your five, like everyone here, all of you, you all know that with your family, things don't need to be said. Everyone knows. I can't really fully go there with my dad. It would upset him. He's a prideful fucking man. What am I, and by the way, I've said it 1,000 times to him because no question, even though it's the greatest gift, there's definitely feelings. It's hard when I don't think people understand, back to we've become over-coddled. I worked 100 hours a week. Mm-hmm. I had no social life in my entire 20s. I worked every single Friday to 11 p.m. and Saturday to 11 p.m. in a retail store of my entire 20s. It was immigrant shit. I'm first gen. My parents weren't born in the old country and I was born here. I was born in Belarus. I lived in a studio apartment the size of that conference room with multiple family members. I had to buy all my own shit for me because my family didn't buy shit like that.
Does this give you a different perspective on entrepreneurialism and how the US is with business? And
of course. We all do. This is why I don't judge anyone. This is my perspective because I lived it and I know this truth. Someone else was born into a generationally wealthy family and that's their perspective. And by the way, I actually have a lot of empathy for those kids. If I was born with my chemicals into a highly successful family, that would have fucked with me. Because it would have been always no matter what I do, I know I'm so fucking great, but no matter what I do, everyone's gonna be like, well, you were born on third and a half base. I'm thrilled. Would never switch with anyone that is born into the opposite situation to me.
Did you, when you went from Wine Library, the show, to media?
Yes.
What did you have any doubts, or you just thought I'm dominated this YouTube show, I've built traction, I've built this business, I'm going to pivot to something that is also starting to get traction with the arrival of social media? And tell me what you were thinking going into a media company after.
That there was no scenario where me and my brother would lose, and whether the agency thing took off or we sold hot dogs, there was just no other outcome. When you don't have an ideology of how you want it to be or how you want to be perceived, you're dangerous,
Yeah.
And so at that time I was 34 years old. My brother was 22. I was just fucking hungry. Don't forget, I just came out of 12 years of doing this thing. I did it super well, super right.
Now this is
But
like your
but I
baby.
had nothing
Yeah.
like to show for it financially. I had, I sit here today and I have everything to show for it. Those memories I have with my father. My parents both lost a parent extremely young. My mom lost her mom when she was 5.
Yeah.
And my dad lost his dad at 15. And I had a real fear of my parents dying as a kid. I just kind of remembered and recalled a pretty recurring dream that I had of us going back to Russia for a family reunion and the plane crashing and we were in Siberia. And every time I would survive with different family members. And now in hindsight, I probably had that dream like 30, 40 times. I also had a mother that's like, you have to take care of your siblings if anything happens to us. It was a currency and a soundtrack in my life. In fact, I would actually argue that a lot of my joy and optimism and happiness that is in me and what you can pick up on in person through all the videos has a lot to do with the fact that I think when I got to 18 and it didn't happen, I was like, yes, like I'm just hyped to some level. And so, but here I am as a 49-year-old man and I'm even getting emotional right now. I just don't want it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time with them.
Yeah, my parents are 20 years older than me. They're my friends.
Yeah.
They're not even my parents,
And you spent a lot of like quality time with them, like working.
Yeah. Like I'm very integrated with my parents.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's the best.
It's beautiful.
My mom is like tough to describe. She's just different. I'm different because of them and the circle. Like it was just a perfect storm. I had very unique parents, an incredibly unique mother. So the combination of them, and then the combination of just how gritty my upbringing was. Like it was, you can only immigrants in real immigrant environments in today's age can really even capture the essence of just the sheer hard work. Like I did child labor, bro. I don't know what else to tell all of you. Like I was 14 fucking years. And by the way, I was 14 and I was the size of a 7-year-old. My number one wish for every person on earth is that they're born into a family with very little, but ridiculous levels of joy and love in the house. Because by the time they're 10, 20, whether they realize or not, they have been taught that money has absolutely no impact on happiness. And I think that is the gift of gifts. And that's what I had.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reason I'm not scared of zero is because I know in fact, just like simplicity is a fucking gift.
Yeah.
And luckily I'm able to manifest simplicity in my very complex life because it's my essence. And I wish simplicity on people.
Yeah. I love it. Let's do a tour around the office.
Let's do it.
Sweet.
I've been less Gary V for the last 4 years than I've.
Do you miss it?
Enough that I think October 1st I'm coming back, yeah.
A lot of people know you as the personality, the personal brand is very strong, but on the side of it, you have this very strong brand of VaynerMedia and VaynerX. How did you actually build and scale the business while also leveraging the personal brand? Because it's like a personal brand is great, it helps, but that's not what actually fully scales the business. That's a supplemental thing.
By doing both well, to your point. It wasn't like my personal brand. Like, in fact, my personal brand was a detriment early on for Vayner.
How so?
Well, the corporate world in 2013, 14, 15 was...
They weren't used to something like this.
They weren't used to something like this, especially someone who cursed. I mean, do you know how many companies, literally Fortune 500 companies, that were ready to hire VaynerMedia, and then a board member or CEO
saw some shit
that I said with 3 curses in 2 seconds, and they're like, fuck that.
Do you still get it, or now they've transcended it a little bit?
I think culture has changed.
Yeah.
Right? Like the things that I kind of was ahead on, cursing, dressing down, they've become the norm.
Do CEOs need to be more themselves? I think
so. Like, back to your audience and what this is about. I think so, but I'm empathetic. By the way, you think you hate CEOs? Good news, they have bosses. It's called the board. You know, I'm empathetic. I sit on boards. I know boards. I am getting courted for boards, and board people that are on the boards of the biggest companies in the world are often in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And by the way, I have always, and to this moment, respect when people do not like what I do. If somebody's 82 years old and they grew in a household where cursing was demonized, where dressing properly was put on a pedestal, who am I? If I'm comfortable in this skin, this goes back to like people being too red or too blue. If a 65-year-old businesswoman or man thinks I'm a bozo because I curse and wear a cap, I respect that. That's how they see the world. The reason CEOs are not themselves is they're scared to get fired.
Which makes them, maybe they're not as effective as they need to be. Because if they were super effective, then they'd be more willing to.
And if they were super duper effective, maybe they would have their own business and have no ability for someone to fire them. The only reason I'm fully the way I am is because no one has say.
Yeah. It's a blessing.
Like, I have complete freedom. Like,
Yeah.
I will never, ever, ever run a business where people have say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather not have a business.
Tell me about what's behind you. Give me some of this. You got wine, you got jerseys.
Yes, this is probably in a lot of ways a good reflection of like how I see the world and what I'm interested in. Like a lot of VeeFriends stuff right now. This is really fun. Like, you know what's really cool about this is this is how I think about VeeFriends. I think it's cool that you two in 16 years over dinner will be like, man, we were fucking there. And like we really didn't take note of like VeeFriends. Like, we didn't appreciate what Gary was, he said that he was doing it, and we didn't like, there's this like almost subconscious disbelief that I'm getting from the world of like what I'm telling them I'm actually gonna do. And I enjoy it to no end. And it's the theme of my life. When my life was 85 human beings in New Jersey that were the bigwigs of the liquor and wine business in New Jersey, and I was telling them in 1995, 1996 that I'm gonna launch a website, this internet thing, on the World Wide Web, and I'm gonna build one of the biggest wine stores in the country. I could see on their faces, like, okay, kid.
Cool, yeah.
Like, in fact, when I launched WineLibrary.com and it cost like $10,000 to make the site, which was like $1 billion for us as a small business at the time, a lot of my dad's contemporaries who cared about my dad, because they watched him
They were like protective of this decision. And
correct,
maybe
they were like, hey
don't
man,
do it.
correct.
Yeah.
They're like, open a second store. That's how you build it, right? When I started Wine Library TV, my best friend Brandon and my father, after the first episode, are like, what are you doing? Like, because I had never not worked on the business. So now I'm taking an hour to make the video, and then I was spending all my hours at night replying to all the comments.
I want your advice.
Okay.
You give advice a lot, I see it. Yeah, I want your advice. Me and my brother, we just separated. We have an agency. It's actually very similar to you. How do we make this bigger and better?
By pumping out more post-production creative in more platforms to create more awareness.
Just flood the zone. Flood the fucking zone.
Read Day Trading Attention.
I have it. I have it in my office. Yeah.
Read it.
Okay.
Or listen to it.
I have not read it yet.
Or listen to it, because I audio it. Something I really understood was that attention was the most important asset. I kind of understood money my whole life. I was like, money's fake, meaning America can keep printing it.
And they do.
And they do, which is why Bitcoin was interesting to me.
Yeah.
Right? The asset in the world. How do you make it bigger? You get more attention. How do you get more attention? You dominate social media. The end.
Yeah. Social media is currently not being utilized enough in your eyes by many, many people.
By almost every human, including me on Earth, and I produce 40 pieces of content a day.
Yeah. I just
specifically on our space of executives.
Yeah, since it's a little more, it's
B2B,
higher niche. Yeah, like
nuance between
Let me-
B2C.
let me-
and I will say some of the executives, like to the point that we were talking about earlier, are like a little more buttoned up than
Yes,
you.
but
Like,
do you know the secret of executives? Many of them have children. You are more likely to make a clip on TikTok that does well, that has a 16-year-old go to dinner with their dad or mom and say, Mom, you have to be on this fucking show, and she will do that, versus a dominant piece on LinkedIn where the comms team goes to the CEO and says, ma'am, you need to be on this show. And she will say yes to her 16-year-old daughter over the head of comms of every Fortune 500 company 8 out of 10 times.
I love that. I agree.
That's true.
Yeah.
2, 59-year-old CEOs are on TikTok. And if you make content for them, it will find them. So the answer is, no question, dominance on LinkedIn, and a meaningful podcast, I think, would be meaningful as well.
Yeah.
But I would tell you not to underestimate. You see, I think Twitter's growing in importance for CEOs. I can see it, I can feel it. And I would say that LinkedIn is like where you need to completely dominate.
Yeah, it's our strongest platform.
How many posts a day?
We usually do a post a day. So we need
max?
Yeah.
I think
LinkedIn, but for Instagram, we are more selective than TikTok and YouTube. We post like multiple a day.
Yeah, I would say on LinkedIn, minimally, guaranteeingly, always 2 posts a day. I would also start a meaningful Substack newsletter. I think Substack is a real opportunity.
Becoming a thing. What about Reddit?
I like Reddit, but I think that Reddit requires a different temperament. It's less of a creative production thing, it's more of a community thing, becoming part of the community, and that is very time consuming and a marathon. I think Reddit is a nice thing to add after you go super deep, because on Reddit, what you need to really do is contribute to the conversation, and you got to really do it, otherwise you're a spammer.
What are your thoughts on like community of super niche community around CEOs, where it's like, not like YPO, but like something where the network of the CEO series is being utilized within everyone who's been on it?
Oh, I think that's the inevitable place you guys are going to end up.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the economics are.
Yeah, like we're getting lunch with the Moet CEO right after this because we just filmed him a few weeks ago. So it started to compound on itself where now people like you are like, okay, I see what you're doing. Oh, you like Danny Wirtz, the owner of the Chicago Blackhawks, we film. I'm not trying to peacock right now.
I don't think you are.
But like his company, Breakthrough Beverage, distributes all of their shit.
Yeah.
They don't know each other. Why? Like,
Yes.
why not? So it's an easy thing for us to broker between the two.
Right. I think you're heading down that path, and I think you know that, right? I'm sure it's on your mind every day that in 4 to 5 years, 3 years, whatever your goals are, or whatever you think is realistic, that you're having an offsite in some fancy place, and you've got 3 to 4 meaningful sponsors that you make real margin on that cover the costs, and then people like me are like, wait a minute, all 41 of these people are also going? Like, I'm going.
Yeah, FOMO.
The things that it's not even FOMO. Truly, it's not. At this level, it's not FOMO. Most of the people you're dealing with are not fucking high school girls. It's strategically like, this is a good use of 48 hours of my time because there's highly capable people congregating. Like people, yes, there's insecurity of people that don't get invited to Davos or Allen and Co. or things of that nature, but it's less,
No, it's mostly
it's
impressive.
More like, the FOMO is more not like I'm not popular or cool. It's more like, fuck, I'd love to be there for 2 days because I can do business.
Yeah, right. Good. It's a positive, productive FOMO.
I think
yeah,
if I'm you, I think
bullshit.
you're starting with a small dinner series.
We do it.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's exactly
We got
what you should
15 coming in October. Sorry, I'm not trying to make this about us.
do. You're more than welcome to.
I had a question about your businesses. I
Please.
was curious. You had made the comment. I like having control.
Yes.
When you determine when you enter a partnership, do you have partnerships where you either spend a lot of time and money on, but you don't have control? Do you have any of those, or do you just do everything? And you're like, I gotta control it,
At the macro,
or it's just like an investment that I don't even get involved in.
correct. It's either in the macro, I control it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't micromanage for shit.
Yeah.
Like I kind of talked about in the interview, like I'll come in occasionally and Vayner speakers, a VaynerX company. Zach, if he walks by right now, like, be like, how is Gary? He's like, he's there when I need him, right? But at investments, I realize that I'm the investor. So I'm backboned on my investments.
Do you have partnerships where you don't have control, but you put your own time into it?
No.
Because like the way you operate, it's not gonna
Yeah,
fuel
but
your jets. If
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just not, because I'm not trying to maximize the money.
Mm-hmm.
Can we go check out that podcast space? Can you show us around?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
This is an interesting spot in the office. I actually think this is a really fun place to like stand for a second. I'm sure the lighting's shit. But,
Yeah, whatever.
But I think the reason I like this spot is that I believe that live social shopping is disproportionately one of the biggest opportunities in business right now.
It's a big thing in China, right?
It's a massive thing in China, and the QVC-ification of social media is an inevitable outcome here in the West, and it is a huge opportunity for humans and for large organizations. If you sell something physically, I think it's grossly negligent to not be spending real hours in understanding how live social shopping on TikTok Shop and whatnot are now happening. And I fully expect many of the other large platforms to jump on board. And we're already seeing Amazon, Walmart, eBay really start to play.
Do you ever think about the impact of social media on like young children? Just like, yeah. And how this all is kind of playing into that?
Of course. I think about it all the time. I think about it the way I think about pornography and alcohol and many other things in life. I think parents need to parent.
True that.
Like this concept of like, oh my God, TikTok's destroying the youth. And like and by the way, back to airports, some of my most funny encounters in life are at an airport where somebody will come up to me and be like, Gary Vee, I love your shit, but I got a bone to pick with you. I'm like, yes, ma'am.
How often does shit like this happen?
Very rarely. But it does happen 2, 3, 4 times a year, and it's always this where I'm about to go. Once in a blue moon, it's like, can you please stop saying college doesn't matter? I really want my kid to go to college. But more often than not, in the 5 times it happens a year, the other 4 times but TikTok, I don't like that you're pushing that. I'm like, I'm not pushing TikTok.
You're not
I'm
promoting
talking about
TikTok.
I'm talking about attention, and I'm talking about what people are doing. We have that talk, and then they'll get a little bit, like if they get a little more spicy and they're like, but you know, this is real. I was like, do you have a child? They're like, yes. I'm like, is this what you're worried about? They're like, yes. I'm like, how old's your child? They're like 12. I'm like, then take it off their phone.
Yeah, why are you asking me?
Like, I'm not your fucking kid's dad. Like, what has happened is when I talk about youth culture getting over-coddled and the things, I'm not yelling at Gen Z and Gen Alpha. I'm yelling at Gen X, boomers, and older millennials who are creating these kids. If you don't fucking like your kid on social media, do what my mom did. She did not want me drinking alcohol when I was 14, 15, 16, and 17. So she fucking made sure I didn't, and I didn't. But if I had, I would have had my ass whooped and been grounded in perpetuity. Parents do not smack kids anymore. That's been long taboo. But I don't know if you know this, like, we're not grounding kids anymore. There's no consequences.
I have 11-month-old, so I'm not quite there yet.
You're not in the game yet. And congrats.
Thank
you. Fucking, if kids grow up with no consequences, how the fuck are they
Human nature, yeah, they gotta know.
So I think that, of course I worry about it, but I do not believe me pontificating about observations of how communication's working from a business lens. I think that's a totally separate track on this than, that would be, I'll give you an example. Do I worry about kids becoming alcoholics and abusing alcohol? Yes. When I talk about fine wine and the complexities of it, I do not believe there is a parallel to that. I'm talking to a different audience about a different nuance. You understand?
Yeah.
My content is not like, you should be putting your 7-year-old, like, in fact, you know this about me, I'm inherently private about my personal life.
You don't share anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
And definitely not my children. So I have literally people that come up to me and are like, and I look at their social media and they're like, they post their puppy and their child to get more likes.
Right.
What the fuck are you talking to me about? I'm actually living what you wish you were living.
Idiots.
Not idiots, but I will say this. The rise of hypocrisy and audacity and entitlement has definitely led much more to the tension in our society than people realize.
Yeah.